All right, class, what's up? This is for course 2, which is a 6th grade course, and the periods 3rd and 4th. All right, I am going over your tests, your study guide for your tests, which you guys have on Wednesday, October 11th. So this is 4A, and the test is Wednesday, October 11th, 2017. All right, I'm just going to jump right into it. I'm going to answer 19 of the 20 questions. And the reason why I say 19 of the 20 questions is because one of the questions is a star, and we're going to work on that question in the classroom because I need to make sure everyone understands how to do that problem. So we're just going to jump right into it. Oh, no, there we go. All right, 1. It says, great-grandpa celebrates his 75th birthday in 2006. What year was he born? All right, in order to do this problem, it's just simple subtraction. We got to take 2006, and we're going to minus 75. And the reason why we're minusing 75 is because that will give us the birth year. All right, so 6 minus 5 is 1, and now we need to borrow. So I'm going to, actually, let me change the color for you guys. We'll make it yellow. So that 2 becomes a 1. This 0 becomes a 9. And this 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 3 is, 10 minus 7 is 3. 9 minus 0 and 1. There we go. And just to make sure we're right, 1931, let's just add 75 to it. I get 6, 0, 0. All right, our answer is 1931. 2. The farmer harvests 8,000 bushels of grain of acres. The crop produced an average of how many bushels of grain each acre? Okay, for this is just simple division. All we're doing is dividing 8,000 divided by 50. How many times can 50 go into 8? 0. All right. How many times can 50 go into 80? 1 time. How many times? Oh. Sorry, guys. I'm skipped a 0. There we go. How many times can 50 go into 300? Well, I know 5 times 6 is 30. And so if I just put the 2 extra zeros there, so I got 50 times 6, 300. Bring down that extra 0. How many times can 50 go into 0? Is 0. Our answer is 160. Question 3. 1 quart is what percentage of 1 gallon? Well, we know that 1 gallon equals 4 quarts. All right? So we want to know 1 quart is what percentage? Well, think of it as fractions. It takes 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 plus 1/4 to equal 1 whole gallon. All right. So if we want to know what's the percentage of 1 quart, we can just take this 1/4. But they want to know percentage. We know that 1/4 is the same as 25%. Question 4. What's the probability of the spinner stopping on 2? So let me make a spinner here. You guys don't laugh at me. I'm doing bad. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I got 3, 1, 2, 1, 4, 1. Wait, 1, 2. Oh, I skipped that number. 1. Hold on, you guys. Let me redo this. I got 3, 1, 2. Haha. After the 2 goes a 1. After the 1, a 4. After the 4, a 1. And then a 2. All right. Sorry about that. That was a little complicated. Now let's count. How many 2s are there? We have 1, 2. We have 2 there. But then how many numbers is located on this spinner? So let's count the numbers. I'm going to use red to count the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the fraction that I have is 2/8. 2/8 can be reduced. We can reduce that by 2. When we reduce that by 2, we have 1/4. Our probability of stopping on the 2 is 1/4. All right, let's keep going. Question 5. We're moving along pretty fast. Question 5, I'm actually not going to do because that is it says 47 million is how much less than 1 billion. Use word to write the answer. I would rather see you guys write that down. I'm going to go around and check that one. So I'm actually going to skip that one. Number 6. I have fractions. All right. All right. So A says compare. So we want to see if these numbers are equal to each other. Which one is equal? Which one is bigger, or are they equal to each other? So let's just do the math. When we have parentheses first, that means we must do that problem first. So inside the parentheses, we have 1/8 plus 3/8. When we add that up, 1 plus 3 is 4. And our common denominator is 8. The reason why I can do that is because our common denominator was the same. Since our common denominator is the same, I can add those two fractions together. And now, once we leave the parentheses, we have plus 4/8. All right, that is actually 1/2 plus 1/2, which equals 1 whole. Because we have 8/8. So let's see if we get the same answer. Let's do inside the parentheses first. 3 plus 4 is 7. Our denominator is 8. All right, now we need to bring that out of the parentheses. And we got that 1/8 to add it to. So 1/8 plus 7/8 also equals 8/8, which equals a whole. So for A, the answer is equal. It's an equal sign. B, it says, what property is illustrated by this comparison? If you guys notice, we're using the same 3 numbers on both sides. The only thing that's changing is where we're putting the parentheses at, right? And when we can change things around, we can still get the same answer. But there's a property that says that I can move the parentheses around, or I can move the number around, and still get the same answer. That property is called the associative property of addition. All right, so that is the associative property. Property of addition. All right, let's move on to the next question. Seven. It says use the digits and symbols to Use the digit symbols to rewrite 7 minus 9 equals negative 2. All right, so basically they're just telling us what they want us to write. So 7 minus 9 equals negative 2. When we write that out, we're going to write it out just how it sounds. So 7 minus means subtraction. Minus means subtraction. Minus 9 equals negative 2. And that is a true statement. That's all they want for that one. That's number 7. Number 8, we have a rectangle. We have 5 centimeters and we have 9 centimeters. It says find the perimeter. Well, this is really simple. When we're dealing with the perimeter, we know that if this side is 9 centimeters, then this side is 9 centimeters. And if this side is 5 centimeters, then this side is 5 centimeters. So I can take 9 times 2. 9 times 2 is 18. I can take 5 times 2. 5 times 2 is 10. I add those two together, I get 28 centimeters. So our perimeter equals 28 centimeters. For area, we're just taking area equals length times width. Our length in this problem is 9. Our width is 5. 9 times 5 is 45 centimeters squared. All right, question 9. Question 9 has 2 problems. A, it wants us to reduce 3 and 24 36. Never had to say that one before. So when we reduce that, we're looking for the greatest common factor. All right, so looking at this, I know that both of these numbers are multiples of 12. So I can divide both of these by 12. 24 divided by 12 is 2. 36 divided by 12 is 3. So when I reduce this, the answer I get is 3 because I have to keep that base number. 3 2/3. B. 9. We got 9 over 21. For this problem, I know that I can divide both of these numbers by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 21 divided by 3 is 7. I cannot reduce this no further. So those are my 2 answers for those when we're reducing. Oops. That didn't work out. There we go. All right, we're on question 10, moving right along. It says write 2 1/2 as an improper fraction and multiply the improper fraction by 1/3. All right, when we change 2 1/2 to an improper fraction, we must take the denominator and we must multiply it by the base number, the whole number. So we take 2 times 2. That gives us 4. And then we need to add the numerator. So 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 equals 5. We keep our denominator the same, so we have 5 halves. And it says multiply that by 1/3. So when I multiply that by 1/3, I have 5 times 1, which equals 5. 2 times 3, which equals 6. That's our answer right there. All right, number 11. Number 11 has 2 problems. A, it says complete each equivalent fraction. In order for us to do this problem, we have to know what the word equivalent means. If you guys do not know what equivalent means, you will not be able to solve this problem. Equivalent means equal. All right, so we want to figure out the missing number because these 2 fractions are equal to each other. So if we know that the common denominator, or that the denominator was 4 and now it's 36, how did we go from 4 to 36? What did we do to the numerator and denominator to get 36? Well, we multiplied by 9. All right, so when we take 3 times 9, we get 27. And when we take 4 times 9, we get 36. There's A. B, same concept. We have 4 over 9 is equal to 36 again, blank. 9 times what equals 36? Well, we just did that. 9 times 4, right? So for this one, I have to take 4 times 4, which equals 16. 9 times 4, which equals 36. There we go. So there's your answer, 16 over 36. All right, let's move on to question 12. It says, the square illustrated is 6 squared is 36 and that the square root of 36 is 6. Draw a figure that illustrates 5 squared is 25 and that the square root of 25 is 5. All right, so for this one, you guys, all you're literally doing is making a square. I mean, I know that looks like a rectangle, but you guys get the idea. And we're just going to do it 5 times. We're going to make 5 rows. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to make 5 rows and going each way. So 1. Oh, this one's going to be tight. There you go. This is all you will have to do for this problem. Very simple. 13 is the problem that I'm going to do in class. All right, let's move on to 14. It says 30y is equal to $41.10. So, for this problem, we need to do the inverse. We need to do the opposite. We need to know the relationship between 30 and y. What is the relationship between 30 and y? They're being multiplied. So in order for us to isolate y by itself, because we want our answer to say y equals a number, we must get rid of that 30. We must get rid of that 30. In order to do that, we have to do the opposite of multiplication. The opposite of multiplication is division. So when I take 30 divided by 30, I get 1. It goes away. So I'm just left with y. I have an equal sign. Now I have, whatever I do to the left side, I must do it to the right side. So since I divided by 30 on that side, I must divide by 30 on this side. I need a place to do my work, so I'm going to erase this. So I got 41/10 divided by 30. All right, how many times can 30 go into 4? 0. How many times can 30 go into 41? 1. Bring down the 1. How many times can 30 go into 111? Well, I know 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 3 is 12, so that goes over, so it can only be 3. All right, that gives me 90. You guys, I'm going to move my work over here. All right, and then I got to bring down that 0. So, how many times can 30 go into 210? That is 7 times. Get 0. So, right now I got 137. You guys need to realize that there's a decimal there, and we need to make sure that we account for that decimal. So the decimal is 2 places right here, so I must go 2 places. 1, 2. The answer is $1.37. All right. Question 15. Which of the following does not equal 2 2/3? All right. So you guys see the 4 options that we have? All right. Well, first let's write this as an improper fraction. So when I write this as an improper fraction, I got to do 3 times 2, which is 6, plus 2, which is 8. So I have 8/3. All right. I see that one is C, so that's not the answer. We can cross that out. Now, let's look at B. When I look at B, I see 2 and 4, 6. I can multiply that by 2, right? Oh. 2 2/3 multiplied by 2 gives me 4, and there we go. Now, the other one says 2 and 10/15. Well, I think I can multiply that by 5 and I'll get 10/15. Yeah. So the only one that I'm left with is 3 over 11. I mean 11 over 3. There's no way that I can get 11 over 3 with this problem. So this one is actually your answer. It is A. 16. We're just simplifying. Because the common denominator is the same, I can solve this problem. I can keep it all the same. So our common denominator is 4. 3 plus 3 is 6, plus another 3 is 9. That's your answer. 17. 9 over 11 minus 7 over 11. Because the common denominator is the same, I can solve this problem. 9 minus 7 is 2. That's your answer. 18. 3/4 squared. 3/4 squared is the same thing as saying 3/4 times 3/4. So 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. That's the answer. 19. The square root of 121. What two numbers, when we multiply, we get 121 that are the same numbers? That makes a perfect square. 11 times 11 equals 121. So this answer, the square root of 121, equals 11. All right, and we're left with the last one, which is 20. All right, please excuse dear Aunt Sally. So we must do our parentheses first. 11 plus 13 gives us 24. When we have parentheses next to a number, that means multiplication. 24 times 13. 4 times 3 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. All right. 0. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. Well, let's add this up. 2. That's 11. Carry that. 3. Answers that. All right. So I went over all the questions. Number 13 we will do in class. But here we go. Extra credit opportunity. If you guys can comment the answer for number 5. If you guys comment the answer for number 5, I'll give you guys extra credit points. All right. So in the comment section, I want you guys to write the answer for number 5. That's the word problem that you guys have to type out. So if you write that in, I will give you extra credit. The first 5 people that I see write it, you guys will get extra credit. All right. Thank you. You guys have a nice one. See you in class.